All right. So I'm actually in DC right now. I'm attending the AppSec Global Conference.
Oh yeah, I was going to go and then I didn't make it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
How is it?
it's good. It's a good conference. It's we've got like 1,000 people here, something like that.
Oh, that's great. Good for.
Um, yeah, and the Threat Model Con that which was the very first, it was the inaugural one. We had 160 people talking on a Sunday, talking about threat modeling all day. It
That's
was
really cool.
it was awesome. Yeah, it was really great. Because I mean, normally you get a couple AppSec folks together and you talk about threat modeling, and it's like 5, 6 people or whatever.
Yeah, I
This,
signed up to go and paid, but then my daughter got sick Sunday or Saturday night late, and we were at the hospital till 4:30 in the morning. And so I was like, forget it. She's fine.
yeah,
But
that's good.
uh, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to go to threat modeling all day after that.
Yeah, no, 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 no.
But I
Yeah,
watch the talks if they put the talks online.
yeah. I think they're going to be up there in like probably in the next week or two, I think is what they were saying.
Perfect.
So yeah. So this is the PR that Manoj had submitted. So he took the section of claims and evidence.
Yep.
So, okay. Looks pretty self-explanatory to me. We can read through that, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and
I'll remove those two doors. Oh, it is removed, right? Okay.
yeah, you've
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
removed it.
All right,
Yeah,
all right,
which is good. You've removed that. So I mean, um, yeah.
all right.
Should we refer to the requirements in the claims? Like claims are always about a requirement, right?
Yes.
We might want to make that clear in the documentation up front, like just somewhere reference and saying, hey, there's this requirement, and you're making claims about how you satisfy that requirement, and then evidence about your claims.
Is it the claim or is it the attestation? I can't remember. I always get them confused.
Pretty sure an attestation has claims and evidence inside it.
So instead of attestation meeting customer needs, should I just make sure that I have a section for requirements and say that there's a
Yeah, you could say customer needs as defined by the referenced requirement.
Yep. Yep. Makes
Okay.
sense.
All right. So yeah, you're gonna make that change and then we can merge that in.
Yep, I'll make that change. I'm in a
Okay.
different laptop. I'll do that.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. Okay. Awesome. All right. I think I was mentioning to Ian, I don't think you were on the phone yet, Jeff, but I was mentioning to Ian that I had caught up with Seba, who's the maintainer of OWASP SAM.
Yeah, I know
And
him really well. He was on the board with me for a while.
oh, okay, okay.
He
Yeah,
was,
so he's I let him know what we're doing with the attestations and that sort of thing. And um that I'm going to basically give him some examples, and they're going to, as well as a schema, and they're going to generate Cyclone natively in their build when they're generating SAM. Right now, they're working on version 2.1, which is incorporating other languages, not just English, French,
yeah.
and a few others. So they're working on that right now, and as well as the website. But I got, I've done the PCI and a couple of the OWASP standards and whatnot, and they're fairly self-explanatory. I got to the OWASP SAM standard, and that build was a little bit more complicated than the others. So they've agreed to kind of take that on, which is great. So
Oh, awesome. Great.
yeah,
Awesome collaboration between OWASP projects. Look at that.
Yeah, and I also reached out to Rob. I'm not gonna even try to butcher his name, but the Rob, the Open CRE guy.
Yeah.
Right. So we talked about Open CRE, how we're supporting it in CycloneDX, and once 1.6 is released, I'll most likely be doing um, a thing to CISA to kind of show them this is 1.6, this is what it brings to the table, just like I was invited to do with 1.5. So CRE is going to be a big part of that as well, because that's, SSDF is, in my view, is kind of a meta standard, right?
Right. Right.
So yeah, we got some collaboration between OWASP projects, which I think is great.
I haven't read through it. No, I don't think anyone anyone has 100 pages, but the White House executive order on AI
Yeah.
looks like they're mandating NIST to create some new standards there also.
Yeah.
Do we have a contact there just to understand maybe where they're going? Because I guess to me the mental model of AI with this is a little fuzzy.
They're
Yeah.
really focused on uses of AI that might threaten national security. And so I think their scope is going to be relatively narrow for a while.
Okay.
There's a lot more focus on safety, trust, and safety of
Right.
deployment of artificial intelligence than the supply chain itself.
Right. I've talked with folks at the DoD CDAO, which is the Chief Digital AI Office, whatever. They've got an entire group on algorithmic warfare that I've chatted with, and they're very interested in provenance and the typical things that you would expect. But again, like you say, it's really very specific use case driven, right? Where the rest of the world doesn't have to worry about some of these use cases, but it's a lot of the same types of problems.
Everything I need to know about that I learned from war games.
Right.
Actually, those players, those guys should go play Robot Wars or something like that and program bots against each other, because you learn a lot about algorithmic strategies there. You realize there is no optimal. It
Right.
always depends on the context.
Yeah. I do know that so there was a blog post that went out on CBOM, and I know IBM Quantum, who originally developed a whole CBOM spec that we're currently upstreaming. IBM Quantum has been working really closely with MITRE, as well as Microsoft and a few other folks. And I know MITRE is doing some work groups for AI. And they were really interested in that blog post going live, because they were going to reference it in some of their own stuff that they're working on. So I'll try to follow up with the with that other working group and kind of see where we're at with that. I think they meet on Thursday. So, but yeah, I haven't read through the entire executive order yet.
I don't blame anyone for that one.
Yeah,
I
I'm
didn't
sure I'll
see
probably
anything
do it
in
on the
there.
plane ride on the way home.
I took a look and did some searches through it to try to see. I was really looking for two things. I was looking to see if they supported the content creators in any way, like if there's anything in there about protecting intellectual property and there's not, which I thought was interesting. I mean, I think that's a big issue. And I was also looking for what do they call it? Evidence-based? No, it's explainable AI.
That's hard. We
Yeah,
debated explainability when we were developing the spec in Cyclone. We talked about that for weeks,
yeah,
and we ended up not including support for it for one simple reason.
doesn't
At
exist.
the very elementary level, you can kind of explain how an AI works. However, when you give a specific input and expect a certain output, explainability becomes really difficult, and it's model dependent.
Yeah.
It's
I just,
almost an emerging science.
right, but that's fine. In an executive order, really, the president is just directing NIST and other agencies to investigate stuff and create standards around stuff. And so they could have said, like, just direct NIST to investigate it, or,
Yeah.
put research dollars behind it, or budget. I mean, they're not detailed policies. They're just, broad strokes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, NIST already has like the classical security levels. They've got the quantum security levels, etc. So I'm sure this is just going to be some more research that they do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if NIST is working with MITRE on all this other AI stuff. I'm not sure how all these initiatives kind of interlink. I'm sure they do in some way.
I don't know. I'm not too optimistic on that front. I think it's just a bunch of random dollars getting spent by random agencies.
Yeah, could be.
So my thought was this is going to be one more standard, like, for example, a safety standard or a privacy standard, and which you can use to attest on your ML.
There you go.
So it feels like it can fit into our CycloneDX model of attestation and ML bomb. So you're adding an attestation of, okay, is it safe to use for a certain purpose? And you're attesting to that and having some assessment as evidence, which is what, like, my initial thoughts on the executive order was, okay, build an assessment which will attest to your safety and privacy uses of your ML. Lot of stress on safety and how it doesn't impact labor, it doesn't impact critical infrastructure, things like that. All of it sounds more and more like attestation. You're doing an attestation of, okay, this is not impact if I use it here. But yeah, that was my initial thought, though.
And honestly, that's probably the level that the government is ready to consume anyway. So.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I got some reading to do on the plane ride home.
If you have ChatGPT, feed it the document. It'll do it for you.
It's funny. Yes, indeed. Okay, I don't think I have anything else. Let's see. So you're going to update that PR. I'm going to find time this week to work on the standards, excluding the SSDF, that hopefully Ida can get to. And I'll try my best to fill out some of the other stuff as well. Is there any section of the guide that anyone feels strongly that they want to dive into?
What are the other sections which we can help with? I mean, let me open up GitHub.
Yeah, so let me share again. Right, so let's see. We've got the attestations.
Is there signing and implementing? Is that
there's a section on signing.
okay?
So if that's something that interests you,
Not it.
not it.
I don't care.
I'd be interested in jumping on the evidence section, just because for my own use case, I'm gonna have to figure out in total attestations as evidence for attestations. So I think I think that's something that's gonna come up, just trying to understand how to deduplicate that along with the PDFs and everything. So I'm happy to jump on that, mainly because I want to figure it out myself.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this PR that Manoj did was for the claims with evidence, but it probably does need to be expanded with some of those examples, right?
Yep, exactly. Yep.
But I think he's got a good starting point from what I was able to briefly read. I think it's a great start. Documenting non-conformance, if anybody's interested in taking that on. Manoj, if you're interested in signing, that would be great.
I'll take the
Implement-
signing and I'll start from there. And
Okay.
yeah.
This one might take a little bit, the implementing.
Is this for? Oh, this is like adding to your pipeline and whatnot. I mean,
Yeah, you had the pipeline example in here, but we had sharing and distribution, best practices, quality, a bunch of other stuff. So,
yeah, it wouldn't be ridiculous to wait until some people actually use it to come up with like FAQs around using it the best.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we can take some of that stuff out for the initial version of the document, but some of the other stuff like integration with GRC, I mean, that's stuff that we could certainly write. Linking, I can write that. That's easy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that one covers a broad spectrum of different things, so that's probably going to require a little bit more collaboration, would be my guess. Okay, so I'm going to work on standards, excluding the SSDF. I want to work on that. Manoj is going to work on the signing. Jeff's taking everything else.
I'll take a look. I'll browse around. Like I don't know.
I'm kidding, Jeff. But yeah, and then once we get that done, then we can take a look at the non-conformance and then I guess the implementing as well. So I think the implementing is going to take a lot of conversation, would be my guess. But I don't have too much else today. I think we can work on that stuff offline, Manoj.
Sure. Yeah.
We can work off
I was
that.
wondering, Steve, in the frontispiece in the introduction, it says things like CycloneDX is a modern standard for the software supply chain. And is that just, should we make that about attestations or is it?
That's generic. So yeah, that was pulled directly from the SBOM guide. So we can change.
I was just wondering if that was the same in all the SBOM standards, or do you do a different frontispiece in each of the substandards?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. It's a valid question. I don't know. I don't have an answer.
So I left it in the introduction. I left the CycloneDX paragraph there.
Mhm.
And added a paragraph in front of it that said CycloneDX Attestations is a modern standard for security compliance.
Right.
And just I don't know. We leave them both, and it just said I said the Attestations project began in 2023 as part of the broader CycloneDX project.
Mhm.
So we can have both there to give people the
Yeah,
road.
that's fine. That's
Okay.
fine. I mean, they don't have to be consistent, but yeah, I think that's fine. We might even have a different front end, and we might actually have a different preface as well. So instead of maybe Andrew, maybe we have something else for the preface.
Oh yeah, this needs to be different.
Right. Yeah, because it's not about SBOM, it's about attestation.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I copied basically the template, if you will, for the SBOM guide over to here and then started modifying it. That's kind of how some of that stuff carried over.
Yeah, I wonder maybe we could get the PCI guy to do the preface.
Okay.
I mean, they're
Maybe.
pretty widely recognized security standard.
Yep.
He buys in, that's gonna pull a lot of weight.
Yeah, I mean, you have the entire financial services industry, which is quite large.
Yeah, and it's because it's credit cards. It's everybody kind of gets it, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that would have a huge downstream impact. Yeah, we could do that. You want to reach out to him? I still need to circle back with him and follow up with him on the license, and I need to work on that conversion still of the second one that he sent.
Yep.
So, yeah, I haven't had a chance to do that yet. Does anybody have anything that they wanted to bring up today?
Nope, nothing for me. When's the release date?
We're targeting the first couple weeks of December.
Okay, so we still got a couple months.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, like 6 weeks.
Like 1 month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah, it's November tomorrow. Sorry.
Yeah. We got 6 weeks.
I was like, oh, it's the middle of October.
Yeah. And if we don't make December, it's not a big deal. You know, we're trying to get it out. I mean, the attestation work itself is done. We're actually using it internally. So far, so good. I'll let the group know if we have any challenges at my employer using it. But we're using it right now. And the CBOM work is mostly already done already. We're just kind of expanding the number of use cases. But yeah, I mean, it's for the most part, 1.6 is mostly ready. It's like 95% there.
That's cool.
So
Is a dev or engineer on ServiceNow, anybody working on the attestation piece? It'll be super helpful to get some thoughts.
yeah, we're working on it now. In fact, you probably know him, Patrick Dwyer,
Okay.
on
Yeah.
my team. Yes. He's been learning a little bit about BSIM this last
Yeah.
year. That's not something he's never done before. And yeah, he's chartered with doing some SSDF for us internally. Because my team does security and maturity across all the different business units in ServiceNow, all the ones that have developers anyway. And we're using SSDF internally. So and Cyclone, we're representing it in Cyclone. So far so good, but I'll let you know if we have any challenges. And then I think as an output from this, what we'll probably do is come up with a redacted or not necessarily redacted, but an altered version of an SSDF attestation that we can use as maybe an example for others. So that might actually go a long way for our federal government folks, who I think are still on the PDF bandwagon. So everybody gets to chuckle out of that one for the folks that haven't heard it before. Machine readable SBOMs, human readable PDFs. Yay.
I've literally seen it in contracts. No joke.
I'm sure.
Provide me an SBOM and also make machine readable in Excel.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. We had
Yep.
the other
I like-
requirement, actually, like we generated SBOMs for a long time, and then people were like, no, we need a PDF report, a human readable SBOM.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. We're going back there.
All right, guys, I'm gonna drop.
All
I
right.
don't know what to do with this
Cheers,
SBOM.
Ian.
All right, see you
Yeah,
guys.
All right.
See you, Steve. See you,
All
Jeff.
right. Take care. Cheers. Bye-bye.